jumping on. So thank you for those who commented on my post saying, you know, I said any questions you have, let me know of what I could do a video on that would really help you. So I thank you all that have commented. I will be doing a video on each comment, just so you know. And the first one I'm starting with is by Mark Reese. I've tagged Mark in this. And the question was, how you raised first investment finance and the deal I used it for plus the numbers. Great question, right? Everyone wants to know what was the first deal. So the first deal was actually a joint venture. And I knew someone who had some cash in the bank. So it's someone that I knew personally. I knew they had a bit of cash in the bank. They weren't doing much with it. So what I was doing first is I was doing a lot of social media stuff because I knew they'd see on Facebook what I was doing. And I knew they'd be able to get certainty from my level of commitment. And yeah, so first of all, what I done was I found a strategy and then I found the deal and then I approached the investor with the deal. Right, and it's funny because obviously the first deal I done, the way I picked my strategy, right, was super simple. I went to a networking event near me and there was a guy at the networking event and he was telling me he does service accommodation in North Wales. So I was like, okay, let me have a look. So he started telling me about his essays in North Wales, saying they're making over £1,000 a month net. I was like, interesting. He told me the town they was in. He told me, you know, how he found, you know, his area, how he found that property. He's like, do it within a mile of this postcode. So the guy literally just told me what he was doing that was working. So all I done was just copy him. So I was like, right, he invests in this town. He does this strategy and it's within a mile of this location. So I literally went home, found the town, done the radius that he said. I found one property, which was a 2-bed end of terrace. I booked a viewing in for Saturday. I drove 4 hours, done one 10-minute viewing and then drove 4 hours home. So 8 hours for one 10-minute viewing. I mean, who's willing to do that kind of level of commitment? Because I remember when I was telling my partner, she was like, why would you drive 8 hours for one viewing? And I remember I first heard this from Mark, it was just like, whatever it takes. Like, I will do whatever it takes. And this viewing could get me a deal, which is what I need to get out of my job. So done the viewing, put an offer in, negotiated heavily on it. So it's up for 100 grand. I got it for 80. Because apparently the guy had fallen out with someone else on the road, had a fight with them, and the guy said, if I ever see you back at this house, I'll beat you up. So the guy was actually hiding at his parents' house and refused to go back to his house and put it on the market. That's just not relevant. But, so, anyway, 8 hours, one viewing, got it accepted. So then I called the guy up who told me about the strategy, and I said to him, look, can you manage this for me? Which he agreed he would manage for me. So all I've done is gone to a networking event, listen to someone who's doing something that's working and just copied what works. You know, say success leaves clues, right? I'm not trying to be the most intelligent guy. I just know I'm going to do what works. So now I've got a deal accepted. So now I've done the numbers on the deal. Obviously, I've negotiated heavily, got a great discount. It does need a refurb. So then I found a builder, literally went on Trust a Trader, called up 3 different builders, had a chat with them, really figured out who I connected with. Got them to go and have a look to quote the refurb. So I purchased it for 80k. The refurb on it was only 6k. He just needed to plaster one wall and he fully decorated with new carpet. Literally wasn't too much work. So 6k. So now I'm in at 86, you know, plus stamp and legals, blah blah blah. So about 90k. It's worth 125 when it's done up. So we actually, and then obviously once I had the deal, approached the investor, said, hey, look, this is the deal, this is the numbers, I've got evidence that it stacks, would you go 50-50 with me? So all you have to do, and then I literally put this in the email, I wrote roles and responsibilities, and I put their name and just put in money. And then obviously on my, I was like, right, find deal, find area, check demand, speak to agents, negotiate thing, get offer accepted, solicitors, and I literally just list out every single step, you know, like liaise with builder, get the refurb done, and I literally done every single step. So literally it just looked like I was providing like this on the list, and their responsibility was just to put in the money. It's a fucking no-brainer. Like it's such a sick deal for them. So they put in, what, 30k, 25, 30k, and I said, you know, what we'll do is we'll split the uplift in equity 50-50 and the income it produces 50-50. But first, until then, you get all your money back. Right? So then bought it for 80, spent 6 on it. It's now valued at 125. We refinanced it. We pulled out 93,750 on the refinance. So that's all money out plus some. So they got all their money back. They've now got a cash flowing asset, and it was making between £1,000 to £1,500 a month net for the first 2 years we had it. So yeah, fucking incredible for them. We've kept it. It's now a buy to let because the guy who was managing it left, and we wanted more certainty of income because sometimes it would do really well and sometimes it just wouldn't. So my first deal and my first investor was actually a JV partner. Now that led on, because I posted the shit out of that deal, it led on to someone else, a family friend, messaging me saying, "Hey, I've seen what you've done with that person. Do you think you could do like something with me? I've just got some inheritance. My mum's just died. And I've seen what you're doing there with property. It looks interesting. Like I've got no use for the money. It would just be in the bank otherwise." So I had a call with them. I know this is deal number 2. So I had a call with them. And I had a friend up in Liverpool and he was struggling to raise finance for a deal. So I said to him, "Hey, look, if you're struggling to raise finance, I've got finance for this deal. Why don't you sell it to me?" He's like, no, this is a sick deal. I want this. I was like, "Come on, look, if you're struggling." So a week later, he called me up and said, "Look, I can't raise finance. If you give me a sourcing fee, you can have the deal." So I was like, sweet. So I've already got the investor's money. This guy's got the deal. I literally just bring people together. So my role is the conductor of the orchestra, right? I don't want to know how to play all the parts. Some people will spend years learning their instrument, years learning to be an architect, years learning to be a surveyor or an accountant or whatever. Like, that's their instrument. My job is to bring everyone together to make some beautiful music happen. So I found the guy selling the deal. I found the investor. I literally just connected them up. We bought the deal and we got a reduced rate because the woman, part of the agreement was, if we get this deal through this woman, the vendor who is direct with, we have to let it out to this housing association who looked after her husband when he was passing. So she was like, "Look, I'll do you a discount if you promise me you'll let this housing association have the property as a tenant," which we obviously agreed. And we've had that for 3 and a bit years now. Yeah, three years in November. With the housing association tenants. All I'd done was put this woman's money in this deal. We paid 91k for it. We spent 10 on it, so we're in at 105, and it's actually just been valued at 150,000. So we've made £45,000 in equity in 3 years, whilst this property profits £400 a month, which is good for a buy to let. 400 quid a month, right? So at the moment, we're actually going for a refinance, and obviously she could pull all her money out, but I'm asking her to buy me out the deal. And the reason I'm asking her to buy me out the deal is because I bought this property in my personal name. And the reason it's such a good deal for her is because she's now 72, right? And she doesn't own her own home. So because she's 72, doesn't own her own home, and she's retired, obviously the banks were not looking favourable on giving her a 25-year mortgage. Because they're like, by the time she's paid off this 25-year mortgage, she's 72 now, she's going to be like 90-something, nearly 100. So they obviously weren't confident in that. So she leveraged my mortgageability, she leveraged my network, she leveraged my portfolio that I'd already got as like asset management for the bank, so they knew that they'll be covered. So it's just such a sweet deal for her and for me. So like I say, at the moment, I'm trying to get her to buy me out, but she's obviously finding a lender that will lend to someone at that age. Plus, this thing you've got to be careful of, obviously, is housing association tenants are much harder to get mortgages. Lenders hate them. And I don't know why they hate them. Because you think, right, it's with a housing association who guarantee the rent. But even though the housing association guarantee the rent, lenders really dislike them because they find it harder to remove them should they need to come and take control of the property. So the rates are always higher with housing associations, always higher. And there's more specialist lenders. So we had to get certain types of contracts. And the housing association, they're like, "We'll have it for as long as you'll allow us to have it." So that could be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And we've actually just done a grant with them where they're going to put a £25,000 wet room in the property for the specific tenant. So yeah, it's nice, obviously, with the housing association. We've honoured our agreement with her. We got a great discount. I mean, the investor who put the money into that deal was obviously created with me 45k equity in 3 years, and she's done nothing. She's never been there. She's never dealt with the letting agent or the housing association. She's literally not done anything. All she done 3 years ago was sent me the money to pay for the deposit, paid for the refurb. So literally she spent like, what's that, 30k, 28k, and now she's got a property that's brought her £200 every single month for the last 3 years, and she's got £2,500 equity created. So she's more than doubled her money. Genius. So my first 2 deals were JVs and just provided massive value. It was, we got ridiculous deals. And the reason there was JVs more was because, one, I didn't have belief in my ability to raise finance. 2, I was selling myself short. Like, I don't believe people would invest in me because I've not done this before. I'm not that experienced. All that fucking bullshit that comes up. And listen, I fell for it at the start. Like, obviously I was new, I was fresh. So I just wanted to, one, leverage other people's money, which obviously we done. But I could have done it a lot better. I could have done it a lot quicker. My first year in property, I got 1 deal. But man, that 1 deal was like conquering the world to me at the time. I thought I'd done the impossible. So yeah. And like I said, I just kept it simple. I just done what worked. Like, I found someone who had a strategy, and I just copied what they done in the area they done, the strategy they done, and it flipping works, right? Success leaves clues. So like, who in this group do you want to copy? Who do you look at and think, yeah, like they're doing something good. Okay, we'll find out what they're doing. Like, it's obviously working. So that's kind of my strategy, is just do what works, really. So I hope that helped. I hope there was some value in that. And yeah, I shall be answering many more questions tomorrow.